What's up, gamers and nerds? It's John of Video Games in the World with weekly news number 19. Sorry for not being able to give you the weekly news last Saturday. I was busy working on a project which was unfortunately canceled because of YouTube policy. But it's okay, because I'm working on another project which is the controversial history of Grand Theft Auto. On weekly news number 18, I give you a sneak peek of the video I am making, and on Wednesday, I uploaded the first preview, which is about Grand Theft Auto London 1969 and London 1961. After the weekly news today, I'll show you the first 10 minutes of the controversial history of Grand Theft Auto. So now, let us begin with the weekly news, everyone. Alanah Pearce, an Australian writer and YouTuber who worked on God of War Ragnarok, has shed more light on the sex minigames which were on the series' earlier entries except God of War Ascension. Since Sony announced the original God of War trilogy getting the remake treatment, there has been one question being asked louder than others. Will the remakes include the original's sex minigames? The first three games, along with PSP's Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta, featured some version of a sex minigame where Kratos and two women or more in Ghost of Sparta would, you know.
Ay, qué rico, me pones loca, cómo te mueves, cómo me toca.
Players simply pressing a button to have a little intimate moment before the camera would pan away from the action. In that QuickTime event, if players did well by pushing the right buttons, that's when the women would moan louder and climaxed if they got it right. For years, many have assumed that these minigames were created by male developers. However, it turns out that they were actually designed by women. I wonder what Sarkeesian would say about this. Forget about her. Alanah Pearce said during a recent stream that the sex minigames were largely worked on by women on the development team and that she worked with them. Pearce went on to mention a play, watch, listen video she made which focused on sex in video games and why they are often so awkward about what is a perfectly natural thing. Sex is a part of life, she continued. With video games specifically, the awkwardness comes from people in a room being afraid to pitch it as a mechanic because they feel awkward about the fact that animators are going to have to animate it, actors are going to have to act it, multiple people are going to have to work on making this interactive sex scene. Pearce believed that the God of War sex games should still be included in the upcoming remakes. I agree because it would feel incomplete if they're not included, and they belong there since the classic trilogy had them as well. These sex minigames to me were not exactly objectifying nor disrespectful to women. Sex is indeed a part of life as it breaks tension and releases endorphins that can relieve the stress out of people. At the same time, I must say that when it comes to sex, whether it is some type of a one-night stand or a romantic moment, it has to be consensual. Capiche? Dark Horse Comics is a comic book graphic novel and art book publisher founded in 1986. A lot of people consider the year 1986 as the most pivotal year in comics thanks to series like Watchmen and Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns and Daredevil Born Again. And Marvel also launched a successful limited series of The Punisher in 1986. The X-Men franchise would also launch X Factor alongside Uncanny X-Men and New Mutants. It was a time when comics would be shifted to more mature, sophisticated, and deconstructive storytelling, often referred to as the adult comic book renaissance. That year will also bring us the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline by DC Comics, and the late George Perez would reboot the iconic Wonder Woman. That was also the year where Dark Horse Comics was founded by Mike Richardson, which quickly became the king of indie publishers. It turns out that Richardson has been let go as CEO and publisher by Embracer, the video game holding company that bought Dark Horse in 2022. Embracer has now installed gaming executive Jake Comas as interim CEO. The company issued a statement on this change, the following. As part of our long-term vision to better align Dark Horse within a more connected and forward-looking group structure, we are implementing changes to modernize the business and strengthen collaboration across publishing games, film, merchandise, and other key areas. Our goal is simple: to ensure Dark Horse is positioned for sustained success while continuing to serve creators, partners, and fans at the highest level. Embracer also said that it is important to recognize Mike Richardson's extraordinary contribution to Dark Horse and the broader comics and entertainment industry. Without his dedication, vision, and creative leadership, Dark Horse would not be the company it is today. His impact on creators, stories, and fans over the decades has been profound, and we are deeply grateful for the foundation that he built. Dark Horse Comics is well known for iconic comic books such as Hellboy, The Mask, Sin City, 300, and The Umbrella Academy, which all of them were adapted into movies. However, the latter was adapted into a Netflix TV series. Dark Horse Comics also did Star Wars comic books, publishing hit titles like Dark Empire, Rebellion, Legacy, Invasion, Rebel Heist, etc. These stories are also part of what was once known as the Expanded Universe, which was rebranded as Legends after Disney purchased Lucasfilm in 2012. The sad thing is that although many of the stories of the Expanded Universe were approved by George Lucas, they were never considered canonical. After Disney purchased Lucasfilm, Star Wars Comics would go directly to Marvel. Anyways, Richardson has not said a word about his departure for the moment. Now that Richardson has left, what will become of Dark Horse Comics? Richardson cared a lot about creators and also was an early believer of manga adaptations to North American comics. These corporate overlords could fuck everything up. Only time will tell what will happen. I'll see. Mega Man Dual Override is scheduled for a release in 2027 on PS4, PS5, Xbox Series S and X, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and for PC as well. We all know that the Mega Man series has been silent for years, but the announcement of Dual Override got many fans of the legendary Blue Bomber excited. This game is a continuation of Mega Man 11, but unfortunately, there is some bad news coming. Ben Diskin, who voiced the Blue Hero in Mega Man 11, will not return for Dual Override after being told that he had to do it without the protections of a union contract. On March 10th, he revealed that he will no longer be the voice of Mega Man. Oh boy. While Capcom promised him his voice would never be used for AI development, he was told with certainty the project would not go union. Working without a contract I can realistically enforce isn't something I can't risk, he added. In a hypothetical event of Capcom using AI on his voice, he'd be at an instant disadvantage. I don't have the mental, emotional, or monetary strength to survive a protracted legal fight. While he's willing to believe Capcom's current stance, he's aware that basically every major corporation is looking to incorporate generative AI to save money, which is why unions are more important than ever before in the games industry. The actor even offered to work for less in exchange for a SAG-AFTRA contract, but Capcom ultimately declined. Diskin also said, I hope Mega Man Dual Override is even more successful than 11 and that everyone enjoys all the hard work the devs are putting into it. Well, all I gotta say is that this really sucks that Diskin is not going to voice Mega Man again. Using AI to save money? Welcome to the corporate world. Such greed to use AI and not hire real actors just to save money. This is exactly why I, like so many others, am against the use of AI for voice work. In the words of Simu Liu and Rian Johnson, fuck AI. Rosamund Pike is a British actress who starred in many movies and also made her professional debut as Bond girl Miranda Frost in the 2002 film Die Another Day, which I believe was the weakest of the Pierce Brosnan movies. Why? It wasn't as good. Still, I loved her in that movie. Rosamund is known for her portrayal of complex and morally ambiguous women in psychological thrillers and is known for accolades such as a Primetime Emmy Award and a Golden Globe. in addition to nominations for an Academy Award and 2 British Academy Awards. Currently, she is working as Moiraine Damodred in the Amazon Prime Video fantasy series, The Wheel of Time. Now, in 2005, Rosamund was among the stars of the 2005 movie Doom. The 2005 movie Doom is an adaptation of the popular first-person shooter series of video games of the same name, where a space marine kills demons from hell on a base on Mars. In an interview, Pike reflected on working on Doom and expressed regret for working in that movie. She felt intrigued about killing zombies in a sci-fi action film, but that is when she got to the set and she felt ill-equipped for her role alongside macho guys like co-stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Carl Urban. She felt out of her comfort zone, out of her league, and out of her depth. She said that the movie was an absolute bomb and probably could have ended her career. She also said it was just probably one of the worst films ever made. I mean, it was a catastrophe. Looking back at this when I saw the movie, I remember how bad it was. And I mean, bad. As someone who played Doom when I was 10 and a half years old back in early 1997, I remember how fucking disappointed I was when I saw the movie. It was, as Pike said it, a catastrophe. It was nothing like the game. And no offense to Dwayne Johnson, but the reason why he was included in the movie is to try to get fans of the game to see it. I, like so many others, thought that Dwayne was going to be the Doom guy. And boy, we were wrong. We were dead wrong. Still, the only thing I liked about that movie was that first-person shooter scene. But overall, it was nothing like the game series that we all know and love. Over a decade later, we had Doom Annihilation, which was even worse. A lot worse. Rosamund Pike, for some funny reason right now, is reminding me of the time when the late Bob Hoskins expressed how his worst role was playing Mario in the live-action 1993 Mario movie, Super Mario Bros. Hoskins said, "It was a fucking nightmare. The whole experience was a nightmare. After months of filming, even Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel's own agent told him to get off the set. Fucking nightmare, fucking idiots. I can't blame him for that either. Man." When it comes to video game adaptations, nowadays are doing quite well. The movies based on video games that were truly good in my list are the following: the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie, the first 2 Resident Evil movies, but the rest sucked. Silent Hill, the 2006 movie, Detective Pikachu, the 2018 Tomb Raider movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and 3, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, etc. Other amazing adaptations are Fallout, The Last of Us, Arcane League of Legends, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Uncharted, Gran Turismo, etc. And now for the main event, everyone. 3 years ago, I remember the release of Hogwarts Legacy, which serves as a prequel to the Harry Potter series of books and movies. I played the game myself and I thought it was awesome. Now, the first Harry Potter book was released come this 2027, 30 years ago. This series of books became extremely popular with children, teenagers, and adults. And this upcoming holiday season, the Harry Potter movie series was born 25 years ago. Harry Potter was popular, but it also attracted the ire of religious leaders, mainly from the Christian faith, accusing children of teaching them to perform witchcraft, black magic, and associating it with the occult. Time after time, these Christians have been debunked, and these Christians in today's world are the same type of people who claim that young people and leftists are too easily offended. Now, Hogwarts Legacy, upon its release, has become a best-selling video game, and at the same time, it was controversial due to the views of J.K. Rowling. Despite this, the game was a massive success, selling 40 million copies, with developers creating the title. It turns out that Hogwarts Legacy 2 is officially in development. After the massive success of the first game, the Wizarding World is set to expand even further with a brand new adventure inside the magical Hogwarts universe. Developers are expected to build on the open world formula that made the original a global hit, promising bigger spells, deeper storylines, and an even larger magical world to explore. I haven't finished the game yet, nor have I gotten very far in it, but probably I'll upload a playthrough and beat the game someday. Although I still think it's risky to do so given J.K. Rowling's controversial views, she may have nothing to do with the game, but still, it's a risk. And that is all for the weekly news. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, follow me on Patreon and social media. Link in the description. Stay tuned for the first 10 minutes of the video, The Controversial History of Grand Theft Auto. This is John of Video Games in the World signing off. Bye!